Hey guys, welcome to the Work the Web interview series where I shine the light on different strategies you can use to help grow your business online in a way that works for you. So there isn't really one right way to take advantage of the online world. So I'm interviewing 11 experts that focused on one thing, and that one thing helped them grow their business in ways that they couldn't even imagine. So today I'm here with special guest Jess from jesscreatives.com. And we're going to be talking all about how she focused in on starting and growing a YouTube channel to help her grow her business online. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself really quick in case you're new around here. I'm Mariah, a website strategist over at mariahmagazine.com, where I work with online business owners to help them get more website traffic and improve their SEO by creating a website strategy that's unique to their business goals and their ideal audience. So Jess, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. So I'm Jess. I run Jess Creatives, and I am also a web designer and strategist. And I primarily work with service-based business owners, especially those in the health and wellness industry. And like Maria said, I also have a YouTube channel that I love. I'm a YouTube nerd, so I'm really excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, actually, a quick fun fact. I remember when you first launched your YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, I've been like following you ever since. And you are one of the ones that kind of inspired me to do it, because I was like, oh, well, if Jess can totally talk about website stuff and people like website stuff, and she explains it in a way that like people understand, then I can totally do it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, thanks for starting your YouTube channel, because
You're welcome.
motivated me.
Glad to help.
So how did you get started in the online business world?
Well, I usually say that I kind of started accidentally. I went to college for design and got my degree. But during college, I had a lot of friends who would approach me like, can you design this flyer, this t-shirt, whatever. And then my senior year, we had to like brand ourselves and kind of create a website for ourselves. So I literally came up with Jess Creatives my last year of college and was like, great.
That's like a happy accident. You were like, right. Oh, what's up?
And I was like, maybe when I'm like 45, I'll like work for myself. I don't know why 45. For some reason, that was like the magical number. And I moved after college, like lost all of my clients because they were all graduates as well, so they didn't need flyers and t-shirts, and started, I was a designer in my day job, but hated it, and then started getting really small projects here and there, and then just stumbled upon this Facebook group of freelancers who were like me trying to quit their day job, and except I didn't know yet I was trying to quit.
It was just one of those things where you're like, well, I kind of like doing this stuff on the side a whole lot better than this stuff when I like wake up and get dressed and brush my hair to go and talk to people. Like I would rather do it at home in my
and then so I was like, wait, there are people who are like 25 or younger who work for themselves. I was like, so I could do this.
Yeah. Isn't that like a huge like revelation? It's kind of like, because I had a similar mindset, because I remember I was like, I'm gonna own a business one day, and then I was like, what kind of business do I want to own? And I was like, I don't know, I'll figure that out when like I'm in my 30s, like late 30s.
Exactly.
So it's like a huge thing when you're like, oh, people are doing this like now, like 18-year-olds in high school. Literally, if they have enough computer skills and like they're focusing in on something, they're opening up businesses online. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, and like I don't know about you, I wasn't really exposed to like entrepreneurs because I grew up in an itty bitty town. And so I didn't know like I honestly in high school didn't even know what graphic design was. Like, did not even know what it was.
That's so ironic.
And but yeah, so then I found this group and started seeing like people were quitting their jobs and like they were 20 and 21, and so then I was like, maybe I could do this. Maybe 35.
You bump it down 10 years.
Let's bump it down. And so I started using social media. I started blogging, and started to try and like connect with other online entrepreneurs. And so, yeah, I just kind of like accidentally fell into it. And then once I found it, was like, oh, yeah, like I could do this.
Yeah,
So,
and then you're like, well, this is me now.
yeah.
So
So
I'm
this
in
is
it to
fun.
win it forever. So
And
we're good.
it surprises people, like people I meet locally, and they'll find out, you know, that I work for myself, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And somehow just the other day I had this conversation with a stranger, and I was like, yeah, like 99% of my clients are like not local. They don't live in my area. They don't even live in my state.
Yeah,
And
I actually run into the same thing all the time. And like I have, you know, family and friends that recommend me out to like local people. And I don't know if this is the same for you, but like local people, I'm in Buffalo, New York, and it's like, it's a bigger city. It's the second biggest city in New York, but like we're so far behind in technology too. And like,
really,
yeah, yeah, with like the online world, I find that my local clients don't understand the web as well as my non-local clients.
correct. I'm the same. Yeah. Yep.
So when I tell people that like most of my clients, just like you, are literally from like all over the world, they're like, wait,
What?
really?
Like, how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like this huge question mark. And I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. The internet is really cool.
Have you heard of email?
Yeah, right, right. See, I feel like local people even email, they're like, oh, I have my email address, but I don't really check my email. I just like get my Victoria's Secret coupons sent over to my spam email and open those up once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, that's really funny that it's just, it's like a whole different world. I tell people, I was like, the online world is a whole different world. And once you're exposed to it, I think that it opens up your ideas literally like tenfold. It's like a 360, like, whoa, there's so many things that I can do.
Yeah.
Because like I had a similar thing where I really wasn't introduced to entrepreneurship either. So like I thought in order to be an entrepreneur, I had to have a big lump sum of money and I had to start a brick and mortar business, or I had to invest in something. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds really serious. I don't want to do all that.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So
less overhead, the better.
exactly. And then it's like falling into this online business has just been, I don't know, it's been so awesome to be able to connect with like-minded business owners and to talk to clients from all over the world and like not have that barrier of like where they live be a thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's really awesome. How long have you been in business?
So if you count when I started Just Creatives, it's been 8 years. If you count from when I quit my day job and went full time, then it's been 5 years.
That's still a big chunk of time, girl.
Yes. Which is crazy. Awesome. I'm like, I keep feeling like it's been like 2 years since I quit my day job. And I'm
yeah. And then you look over at like your DBA or like your LLC and it's like 2012 and you're like, huh?
I'm like what?
Really?
Is that right?
yeah, right. Okay, so has it always been like smooth sailing, like growing your business and running it, or did you run into like hiccups, growing pains when you were first starting out?
Yeah, it was not smooth sailing at all. No. I mean, I literally got scammed once. This is before I went full time. And no joke, the guy, he wanted me to design the newspaper, and like literally a newspaper. And I stupidly was like, I can do that. Sure. And
New York Times, move aside.
I got this.
New newspaper coming out.
And I mean, it was like a new thing. Like they were starting it up. So like, I think it was going to be a smaller, like they weren't going to have like the full newspaper. But anyways, and then he like ghosted me. And I'd done, I think, just a logo, and he didn't pay because, you know, I was stupid, didn't have a contract, and all that fun stuff you don't do when you're new.
All those things that you don't know you need until you realize that you need them.
Yeah, and then it's too late.
Yeah.
And he ghosted me. And then randomly, like a year later, I found out he went to jail for doing that. Like, he had scammed like a bunch of other people.
So this wasn't like my business idea flopped Like,
No.
I'm embarrassed to tell people that yada yada, and like he left that way. This was like
He went to jail. Yeah. I was like, I remember calling my dad and being like, should I like call the police and tell them like he had scammed me too?
Oh my God. That's such a weird situation that you don't think that you're ever gonna have to like
Yeah, it was
deal
weird.
with. And so when you're facing it, you're like, eh?
Yeah. And I think it was I'm trying to remember, it was something really big that he scammed. It wasn't just little contractors. I think it was something like maybe with the building or something like, yeah, that something else that like triggered like, oh, we found out about all these things.
Oh, he was doing big boy things.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was that was a little rough. But yeah, that was probably one of the bigger things I remember from when I first started.
But
And
you
also,
probably learned so much from that.
yeah, I was like, okay, so contracts, need one.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's like get on the phone call with somebody, make sure that they're legit, make sure that they have X, Y, and Z all
yeah,
figured out. It's just, yeah. And I feel like especially starting an online business, you don't realize how important those things are, because it's like, as a business owner, we want to trust the people that come into our inbox and that need our services.
yeah,
But that at the same time, it's like not everybody is as genuine as we would hope that they would be.
yeah, yeah. And then just taking on projects I shouldn't have, like ones that were like, I was going to design the side of like not a semi truck, but like one of those smaller ones, like a
Yeah.
box truck kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why did I say yes to that? Like, luckily something kind of fell through and then it didn't happen.
Was it
But
one, because I remember having a few of those where it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to take on this project because I need the money. I'm new. I want to get my name out there. I want to say yes to all of these projects. And then once you say yes, let's say the contract is signed, all of a sudden you check your inbox and it's like nervous stomachache.
yes.
You're like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I got myself in over my head. What am I doing? I remember having like anxiety. I literally was like, I don't want to check my email. I hate email. And like, now I look back on that and I was like, I'm glad that I went through that process, because it did teach me a lot about like who my right clients are and like how to be able to filter through all of them. But holy crap, was that like a growing pain.
Oh,
like
yes.
that one hurt like my soul on like a level where I was like, oh my God, I feel sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I also did this, it was like a subscription box kind of thing. And it was like for little kids to learn science and stuff. And they wanted me to like design these flashcards and like booklets. And I was like, I know how to do this. Nope, I don't. Like, let me Google all of the things. And like, I even got my degree in design. Like, I don't know why I didn't know these things. That was the weird part. I was like, shouldn't I know how to do? Like, I mean, yes, I knew how to literally design, but they were like needing printing help and like talking about bleeds and like booklets. And I'm like, how do you design a booklet so it prints right? Like,
yeah,
my professor didn't teach me this.
yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to like going to school, like college, for a degree for something in the creative field. I feel like it's so vast that there's no way that they can cover everything. B, everything changes so rapidly that it's probably pretty impossible.
Yeah.
And C, it's like there's so many different needs for design.
Yeah.
That like you're never gonna really know you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it.
Exactly. And
so,
that was
I mean,
the first few years.
Yeah, and like especially with like websites, I remember starting out, people were like, I want this functionality, and I was like, yeah, that's easy. Yeah, and I was like, I don't even know where to begin. I'm sitting there, and Google was like my BFF, and like that's how you problem solve, is just like jumping into these experiences and like realizing that you don't have to have all of the answers. It's it's cool to have an open communication with your client and be like, hey, I've never done that before.
Right.
So just as a heads up, I'm going to look at solutions. Let's test them out together and see which one fits your project best.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, this will be like, I think my last embarrassing story that I tell you. I remember the first website I ever did for like a client besides like my own, I set it up on WordPress.com because I didn't know such thing existed as .org, and they didn't either. Like they didn't care. It was great. And then I remember I wanted to move my website to WordPress and still did not. Then I said something like learned like, oh, I bought this theme off like Theme Forest, went to try and install and it wouldn't. Googled, found out, oh, there's a WordPress.org, went to WordPress.org and like hit the download button to like, you can upload on your, and I was like, where am I supposed to upload this WordPress file? Like,
it's like funny because we know better now, but like at that time, it is so confusing.
Yeah. And I was like, and I remember I had spent like $35 on that theme and I was like, oh my gosh, I just wasted $35. Like,
especially starting out, you're like, I have to pay how much for hosting? Like, do I really need hosting? Like what even is hosting?
Can I just bypass that? Like,
yeah. Oh my God. I feel like we could talk forever about like embarrassing stories about things from when we were like starting out in business. That's so funny. So in short, yes, there are always growing pains when it comes to starting a business, especially online. We might not run into like plumbing issues like brick and mortars might have.
Right.
But like there is like whole other beasts. But the cool thing is that so many people have done this before us that Google is pretty legit with like a lot of answers.
Yes.
And I feel like the online business community is really, like if you find your people, they're really open with like helping and giving resources.
Yes.
Which was a huge help to me. So although there are growing pains, plenty of solutions.
Yes, lots of solutions. Google is your best friend now.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so let's get into the YouTube channel. How did you come up with the idea to start a YouTube channel?
So I had a friend who was on YouTube and I was like, oh, YouTube, like that's interesting. And I remember it was funny because my husband had suggested a few months before, like, you should start a YouTube channel. Because he's kind of in the video and tech world, and not that he has a YouTube channel, but, and I was like, no, like, I don't like speaking in front of people. I don't like being on video. No.
Yeah, it was like an instant, like, absolutely not.
No,
we're not going to talk about this any longer.
Okay, like, that's fine. We don't have to, whatever, I'll drop it. And then, I don't know, it was just like a conversation I had with my friend, and I was like, man, like I remember thinking the big reason that I wanted to start on YouTube was I was like, there are so many designers out there and I'm tired of blending in. Like, why do these people always get chosen to be on the summits, to be on the podcast, to whatever? And like, I'm over here like chopped liver.
Yeah. And that is like a real problem when you're starting out in the online business world. There's been so many people before us that it's like those people are already so used to getting asked for all of these things that it's like, how can I stand out online?
Yeah. And so I was like, well, everyone keeps saying like, this is the year of video. That's what they've said for like the last 3 years.
Literally every year. Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'm going to do it. And so my husband came home one day and I said, I'm starting a YouTube channel. And he was like, I thought you said no, like a month ago. And I was like, well, I'm doing it. And 2 weeks later, I published my first video.
So like, he planted the seed and you were like, listen, I'm going to let this seed grow.
Yeah. Like I thought that I had said no to that, but I think I was thinking about it and finally just was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I dove in, started a YouTube channel.
And it's really scary at first.
Oh my gosh.
It's like horrifying. I remember because it was my brother that essentially pushed me to do it. My brother actually bought my domain name, mariahmagazine.com. Like I wasn't even in business yet. He's in the IT field. And me and him are really close. And I remember for my 21st birthday, maybe, he was like, hey, your birthday present, I bought you mariahmagazine.com. You'll figure out what to do with it. And I was like, okay, like, thanks. Like I was in college for web design at the time, but I didn't want to work for myself. That all sounded really icky right away. And then I ended up doing some things with it. And then like a year later, he was like, hey, you should start a YouTube channel. And I was like, stop trying to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? I was
This
like,
is
you don't
not
know
your
anything.
life.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was something similar, but he ended up planting the seed. And then I remember literally watching your videos from the beginning, and you did like a 30-day challenge. And you're like, this is how I'm going to get over my fear of posting on
Yep.
YouTube. And I was like, yo, people are doing this and they're not letting fear get in the way. So I'm going to do it too.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's all it takes is you just have to be like, screw it. Like, I'm not gonna, like, what would happen if I kept doing the videos? That's what I kept saying. Like, cause I did them. I remember the first like 2 months, maybe 3 months. I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this decision. And part of it was like, these videos are not great. Like, I'm not great on video. And, you know, my husband kept saying like, it's gonna take practice. Like, you're not a public speaker. You're not a broadcast journalism person. Like, it's gonna take practice.
Yeah.
And I remember wanting a new camera because I had just been recording with my iPhone, and it was getting annoying that I would record and run out of space. Like,
Yeah.
quickly. And so I was like, maybe I should get one. And then I was like, I don't know, like, do I want to spend the money? Am I gonna keep doing this? You know? And halfway through that 30-day challenge, because I did that 30-day challenge like month 3 or 4.
Okay.
And halfway through, I was like, I'm doing it. Like, something clicked, and I was like, I'm doing this. I'm staying on YouTube. Honestly, that 30-day challenge was a huge help because the day 1 video and the day like 30 video were drastically different. Just in terms of like,
you just kept going at it,
yeah,
just practicing, figuring out what works and what doesn't, and it's testing and tweaking. And that's such an important part of running a business in general, not even just online. It's the testing and the tweaking process, and probably nothing is going to be perfect, but at the same time, we can only do our best with what we know, with what we have right now.
Yep.
So like, just take that and run with it, essentially, which I think is a huge thing when it comes to YouTube, especially.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what else I was going to say, but
you have to keep tweaking on YouTube. Like, if I was still doing my videos the way I had done them when I started, my channel would not be growing. Like,
that's really interesting. Can you, like, what is one thing that you do now in your videos that you didn't do before?
I tell stories. I tell better stories. It used to be just like, hello, today I'm going to show you how to put a button on this page. And that was it. And now I'm like, hey, like, I just recorded a video today, and I talked about like getting more visible online and, you know, showing up in other people's blogs and podcasts and stuff like that. And I talked about how I wrote a book, not related to my business, but if I hadn't written that book, there would be hundreds of families that did not get the information from that book. And so as business owners, we have that same opportunity to help people. There are hundreds, if not thousands of people. And so me just kind of sharing that little bit of a story, like sometimes when I tell people they need to just be better at storytelling, they're like, they think they just need to sit there and tell the story about they were like 12 years old and something. And I'm like, no, like, just tell a snippet of something like you've learned, or how this lesson that you're about to teach has like applied to your own life.
Yeah, like why it's important and why people should care.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good takeaway.
Yeah, because you basically need to give reason to have people want to come back. Like, that's part of what stalled my growth in the beginning, is I was just doing how-to videos. Well, like, people don't really want to subscribe to a how-to channel, like, because it's really, I just need to know how to insert in a button when I need to know how to insert in a button. Like, I'm just gonna go Google that little question, or how to switch themes, or how to whatever. They're not gonna like, oh man, like, I want to like learn this. So it was when I started doing more than just how-to videos that there was actual growth that started to happen.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we talked about that. What's your favorite part about having and growing your channel?
Part of it honestly is just now I have a love of video. Like it's just fun, but it's also really cool to see how my videos impact other people's businesses. Like I literally had someone DM me on Instagram 2 weeks ago and they were like, I just want you to know, like I found your whatever video tutorial on YouTube and I subscribed, but also like you are the reason that I decided to start my podcast. Like you showed
That's
me,
so powerful.
and I was like, what? Like, I'm like, what? And they were like, because I watched it and I was like, can it really be that easy? Can it really be that easy to set it up? And like, and that was it. And so it's just really cool to see how that impacts people. And people are like, oh my gosh, I've been searching for weeks for this. And I'm like, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Here I am.
Here I am now. And it's also cool just like the way people will connect with me. And because especially with this storytelling that I mentioned, it's been including more of my personal life in the videos. Like not that I'm doing like just totally personal like blogs.
Yeah.
But I will share little snippets of like, oh, I'm like working on this for my husband or, you know, like whatever. And people will be like, oh my gosh, like, how's this going? Or what, you know, whatever. And I'm like,
It's like putting your personality behind it so people can connect and engage with you
yes.
instead of just like viewing you as like a learning resource. Like I only go to Jess when I have to learn X, Y, and Z instead of, yo, Jess is super cool. Anything she posts, whether it's a how-to, whether it's not, I want to watch it because I vibe with her.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I should have started doing a long time ago.
That's really good advice, especially like I am going to start focusing more on my YouTube channel too. So it's like just hearing feedback from that, I think that's really, really helpful, especially when you're getting started and growing from like that little itty bitty number.
Yep.
It's really hard to get subscribers and views when you're first starting out. And it's like, how do we build this snowball effect?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the one thing I would say to, you know, those who are like, I have 7 subscribers, like, I can't grow my channel. First of all, YouTube actually does not put as much weight in subscribers. We do as people because we love those vanity numbers, but YouTube really cares more about watch time than they do subscribers. Like when I look at my analytics, every time I watch or every time I look at my analytics, there are more people who are not subscribers watching my videos than subscribers.
Oh,
So,
that's interesting. So it basically means that the videos that you're posting out, you're being found in essentially YouTube search results.
Yep. 100%.
Which SEO for YouTube, that could be a whole other video.
A whole other video. But I mean, I know we all do want subscribers because there is, to some degree, they still do matter because if you have, you know, 5 subscribers, you're going to get like maybe 3 views in the first hour. Whereas if you have 1 million subscribers, you're going to get like 10,000 views in the first hour or something like that.
Yeah,
and
for
YouTube
sure.
sees, you know, the more views and engagement you get in that first 24 hours, that they're going to start pushing it more and showing it to more people on the feed and on the dashboard, all that kind of stuff. So to a certain degree, having subscribers does help.
But it's not like the end all be all metric.
No, it's not. And I've had videos that like the first week, it's like 100 views or 200 views in the first week. And so I'm like, and then 6 months later, all of a sudden, 10,000 views.
Yeah, I had one of my first videos, I literally just did it because I listen to it now and my voice is so shaky. I'm like, you do this, but like nobody else notices apparently because it literally has like 6,000 views without me even doing anything. And people are commenting on it like, thanks so much, this is so helpful. And I was like, you don't hear how scared I sound?
You don't see how horrified.
And it wasn't even my face, it was a screen share.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, thank God my face wasn't on there because I literally would have been like horrified in the back corner.
Yeah, I mean that's what my first videos were like. I'm just over there like, oh, hi, do you want to learn about domains? Like
Yeah.
it's so tense. Like you can see like my shoulders are like hunched and I just like really quiet and I don't move at all.
But the only way to get comfortable is literally to just post those videos,
Yep.
because at the end of the day, those are the only things that help us see what we can fix and allow us to get comfortable in a
Yep.
video setting. So like
Mhm.
if you guys are really, really interested in like learning how to start and grow a YouTube channel, realize that you're probably not going to be that good in the beginning.
Nope.
But the cool thing is that there's so much room for growth.
Mm-hmm. And I think this, I mean, you can take that same, like, think about your first client, like whether you are a copywriter, a CPA, like a web designer, whatever. Think about your very first client and how awful that work was. And
Yeah.
you are still here in business now.
And yep, you still breathing. You still breathing online. We good.
And so there's that same progress that we see in our actual work will also take place in video in YouTube. Like you may not get 10,000 subscribers overnight or in a year.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing is just to focus on more so like solving your people's problems.
Yes.
Because essentially that's why I started YouTube, is I was like, wow, people are so confused about the web.
Yes, they are.
And I apparently have this knack where I can break things down in a way that A, helps people understand it, and B, is a little bit more entertaining to watch than like, this is how you do that. So it's like the motivating factor for me was like, I would be doing a disservice to people
Yep.
to not keep going forward with this. So it's like my experience will help my quality eventually, but it's like I need to try. I need to do something. Because I can see where I can make a difference, whether it's big or whether it's small. If I help one person, honestly, that's one person that was so frustrated without, my video that they watched.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm a very much like a just try it. And if you fail, you fail.
Yeah.
But it's like, I always go back to like, what would my business be like right now if I hadn't done YouTube? Like, where would I be? Would I still, like, I think I would hopefully still have my business, but it's like, would I have seen the growth that I've had and that kind of stuff? And so, I mean, I talk to all kinds of people who are like, yeah, like I'm thinking about doing YouTube or a podcast or whatever. And then like nothing, they never do it. Cause whether it's just fear or they just decide to do something else, whatever. And I'm like, just try it. Like, just try it. See what happens.
Essentially with like everything in life, just put one foot in front of the other, just dive in. If you hate it, that's cool. You can hate it forever. But as long as you try it just to see. Okay, so did you add anything to your website to help you grow your channel? Or do you kind of like focus on bringing people from your channel to your website?
No, I kind of did both, but for the longest time on my homepage, I had like a YouTube plugin, like a feed that would display my most recent videos.
Yeah.
But the other really big, I think most impactful thing I did was put my videos in blog post. And so for when I first started, I would blog like a normal blog post, quote unquote, on Monday. And then on Wednesday or whatever day, I would have my video in a blog post. But it really was just like a little intro paragraph, like, don't we all care about our websites? I'm going to teach you 5 things about your website, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there would be the video. So it wasn't really like an actual like long form blog post. Then at a certain point, I just put the videos in each blog post, like the long form blog post.
Okay.
That way,
it's like you gave people 2 options, whether people like to watch videos to engage with content or whether people like to read the content. So you kind of gave them like the both.
Yeah. And it was usually related. So it wasn't like the exact same title or content, but it was kind of like the blog post would talk about maybe like what or why. And the video was usually like a how or something, or really expanding on like one bullet point or something like that. And so
it kind of like piggybacked off of each other.
Yeah. So like you could still just read the blog post and get everything you needed out of it, or you could just watch the video and get what you needed out of it, or you could watch both
and get the most out of it.
Get the most out of it. Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then if people are new to embedding their YouTube videos in their blog posts, the views that you get when people watch your videos in your blog post count towards your video views. I know I had somebody ask me a question about that. They're like, well, if you embed it, does that not count? I was like, oh, it counts.
Oh, it counts.
We're still going to need those thumbs up, and we're still going to need those engagements on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it absolutely counts. So it's just like another way to get your audience more solutions to their problem, essentially.
Yep. So I still, like, for 2019, I stopped blogging, but I still put my videos in the blog, like as a quote unquote blog post. I don't do any of the little intro paragraph. It's literally just the video and the description in a blog post. So people who go to my website can see those videos right there. They don't have to click over to YouTube to watch.
Okay. Yes, it's kind of like an online ecosystem.
Yep.
They kind of work really well together.
Yep.
That is really awesome information.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to creating content, because I know that that's a huge hurdle for people. When it comes to YouTube, it's like creating content sounds like this big scary monster. What do you think the biggest misconception people have about creating content for YouTube or like business in general?
I would say a lot of people mistakenly think, oh, like, well, if I'm answering all these questions or putting this information out there, like, then why would they hire me? They're like, because I'm going to tell them how to do everything. Okay, well, think about the things like that are really small that you don't want to do. Like, I have a tutorial about like adding MailChimp into Squarespace because it's something easy for me that might be difficult for other people. And I honestly have had probably a dozen or more people over the last 2 or 3 years since putting that tutorial up who will email me and be like, I saw your tutorial, but can I just pay you to do it for me?
Yeah. Because there's so many people that it's just not worth it in order to figure out, or like the web it's confusing.
Yeah.
Each software, each platform, each app has their own way of doing things, has a different interface. So it's like, if you're not comfortable with the web right off the bat, even switching in between from email, like handling everything in email to then going to MailChimp, you're like, huh?
What?
it's super overwhelming for people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so because someone might be like, oh, like, how do I do this? And then they watch the tutorial and they're like, okay, so that's not as easy as I thought. And like, I honestly, like, I think the first few times I would do that for people. And then I got to the point I was like, I do not want to do this. Nope. Like, I design websites. I don't want to add a MailChimp block to your website.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For sure.
And so in that case, I'm like, no, I don't want you to hire me. But, that's a perfect example of like, you could, like, a CPA could be like, I'm going to show you how to set up QuickBooks. And I could watch that tutorial and be like, yeah, I still don't want to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And then even if people do want to do it, right? So they set up QuickBooks, for example. And then, like, for me, for example, if I didn't set up QuickBooks on my own, but if I did, then I would be like, okay, well, I don't want to do this every month. So can I hire you to track my stuff every month then? Like, yeah. I might have set it up, or can you double check it? Or can you, and so it opens the door for communication for your services. Mm-hmm. Because even if you're teaching people, let's say, exactly what you know, they're still not going to know everything that you know.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, who is going to sit and watch all 300 of my videos? Like, yes, if they've been subscribed from the very beginning, maybe they have watched most of them, but they still, like, I haven't said literally everything. Not that I'm like holding back, but it's just,
you don't want to overwhelm the videos either. So.
Yeah. So, because I'm like, I got to make them quick and actionable so it doesn't overwhelm people. Because, like we've said, web stuff overwhelms and confuses people already. So I'm like, I can't break down every little thing. And honestly, sometimes I've had people who comment on YouTube videos and they're like, but you didn't show XYZ. And I'm like, Really, people, like, this is free information. Can you
Yep,
like,
yep. I get those comments too, or like troubleshooting. Like, hey, I did this, but it messed up my theme. So like, now what do I do? Well, you can hire a developer.
yeah, like, I'm not gonna I can't help you. I don't know your website address. I don't know what theme you're using. Like, there's so
Yeah.
many.
So it's like, even if you think that you are giving too much information, there's always information that you're not giving, and people don't have your base knowledge.
No, they
So
don't.
yes. So create a YouTube video and keep it going.
Keep it going. Just inform them.
Yes. Okay, so has focusing on YouTube and essentially like content creation as a whole, like, we know that it's helped you grow your business online, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. Did it open any additional opportunities that you didn't expect?
Yes, it has. I mean, it's really opened a lot of doors for other collaborations and features with other online entrepreneurs.
So you're that person that you wanted to be in the beginning. Like, people are reaching out to you about podcasts and like essentially public relations type things, like speaking in summits and being an interview guest in an interview series.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I've done brand sponsorships, like I've done sponsored videos. I'm speaking at a conference in October, and I remember the application said something, and I was like, I don't really have prior speaking experience.
Yeah.
but I had, and somewhere else I mentioned my YouTube channel. And now I don't know if the YouTube, like, they didn't specifically say like, we saw your YouTube videos, so now we've chosen you, but I did get chosen. And I'm like, I mean, I haven't spoken before and they still chose me, but
I'm sure that they did watch your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Because like, that's how you're going to get an idea of how somebody's energy is, how their personality is, how they communicate information. It's just, yeah. So once you like start growing that YouTube channel, you get good, you get into your flow. It's like, now it's like a visual stepping stone into all of these other things that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, YouTube literally is done, like, the people it's introduced me to and the opportunities, like, I'm so glad that I was like, you know what, let me just try this out.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's been like probably one of the best marketing platforms for you, without even like trying to even think, because I know people get weird about like marketing and like sales and things like that. So it's like YouTube can kind of bridge that gap for you. Yeah. Like, it sells for you.
Mm-hmm. It does. And I mean, because like I said, anytime I've looked at my analytics, people who are not subscribers are watching more of my videos than my subscribers. And that's because of search. And so people are finding my videos every single day. Like videos from 6 months ago, 2 years ago, like they're constantly finding videos.
Because people have problems and we just want to be the solution.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you could do everything all over again, like if you could start your YouTube channel from scratch, would you do anything differently? Or do you think that like the way that you did things really helped you learn along the way?
I mean, it has been helpful. You know, I'm good at adapting and tweaking as I go. But two things I would do differently. I started my channel because, again, I was very nervous, very apprehensive, with 1 minute videos. That's it. 1 minute. Like, it was literally, I called it 60-second snippets because I thought that was cute. In 1 minute videos. Unfortunately, that trained my audience to only like really short content. And so.
Oh, that's a really interesting point.
Yeah. And so the longer the videos got,
the more drop-offs.
There were higher drop-offs because people were like, I don't want to watch. And I'm saying like 3-minute videos. People were like, ugh. So that was tricky. I wouldn't have done that. Or if I'd done the 1 minute, maybe if I'd been brave enough to do 2 videos a week, you know, where I could do a 1 minute one and then like a 3 to 4 minute one.
Yeah.
Because it took a while, like I noticed this trend. I don't remember exactly when it was. I think it was still in that first year that I was like, yeah, so I'm running out of things that I can talk about in under 1 minute.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I started to want to make longer videos, but then they just weren't getting the views and people were dropping off. So I would have started with, I don't want to say long as in like 10-minute videos, but I would have tried to start with like 3 to 4 minute videos. And then I would have also not stuck to just how-to videos, because that also, I think, stunted my growth at first. Like I mentioned earlier, I was always doing like how to move from Squarespace to WordPress, how to put a button on this page, how to, like everything was a tutorial. And now a lot of my stuff is more like strategy and like overview of things and comparison videos and that kind of stuff with an occasional tutorial. But again, like people don't necessarily want to subscribe to a how-to channel because they're like, well, like I'll just come look when I need something on YouTube. I don't necessarily need to know all of these things.
Yeah, that's a really good perspective that like starting out, you wouldn't even think of until you have to think about it.
Yeah. And how-to videos, it's tricky because how-to videos are like the most searched thing on YouTube. So it's easy.
So it's like you want them, but it's like you want to have this equal balance of the how-to videos to get the traffic. So it's like you get the views, you get people finding you, but then how do you make them stay?
Right.
Essentially. So it's like being able to marry those two things together.
Yeah. So I would have gone back and made the longer videos and also done a like maybe even like every other week or every 2 weeks, like balance it between how to and then a strategy or me just talking about like a topic in general, you know, instead of it being how to. Because if you scroll back through my videos, there's just this huge chunk of just how to things. And so it was good because like a lot of search, I just wasn't getting a lot of subscribers and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that's really, really helpful. Those two things. And honestly, I've done research on like YouTube marketing, YouTube strategy, things like that. And I haven't heard anybody bring up those topics yet. So thank you for shining the light on that. I think that that is really, really helpful.
Of course.
Okay. So if you could give people real short and sweet, like one actionable tip to help them either start or grow their YouTube channel, what would it be?
Be consistent. Like set a plan and stick to it. Like there are so many people who start a YouTube channel and they're like, oh, I'll post on Wednesday and then on Monday, and then 2 weeks go by and then nothing, and then oh, here's another video, and then 3 weeks go by and no video, and like
you're like describing me to a T. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this every Wednesday. I'm gonna hammer out a video, and then I was like, wow, I'm stressed about this. And then I was like, well, what can I not do? Oh, I can not do a video. That sounds great. And then it's been 4 months and I haven't posted a video. Like I'm continuing to get subscribers and views and everything, but which is awesome. So I'm glad that I started my YouTube channel. But it's like I'm realizing that like I really need to be consistent and more focused in order to get exactly what I want out of it.
Yep. I mean, and that goes for any content creation, honestly, but YouTube especially likes consistency. They like to see that consistent content and you're bringing people back to the platform because YouTube is very selfish. They want you to bring people to the platform and keep them.
Because they're owned by Google.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes for any platform. Like Instagram is the same way. They want you to come to the platform and stay. And YouTube wants you to come to the platform and stay
forever.
Forever. And so if you can keep bringing people back and they stay and they watch more videos, because honestly, the best thing that someone can do when they watch your video, like if you get Mariah's weekly email, and she's like, hey, I have a new video, and you watch it, like, yes, it can help Mariah if you like or if you comment, but the very, very best thing you can do is watch another video, and it doesn't even have to be Mariah's video.
That is so YouTube basically wants you to binge watch. They want to take you away from Netflix, and they're trying to get you to YouTube and chill.
Yeah, exactly. They really, like, yes, obviously it would benefit Mariah more if you watched more of her videos because it's her channel and her content.
Yes.
But if at least they stay on YouTube in general, like, I mean, imagine like you just get brownie points for like every video they watch. Like, think about times that you've gone to YouTube to like watch one video and then you're like, oh, look, a Jimmy Fallon video. Oh, look, an
And
Ellen
then you
video.
get sucked into the YouTube
Oh.
hole, and then you look up and you're like, it's 7 p.m. I haven't made dinner yet. Where am I? Who am I?
Exactly. And look, but then YouTube goes, oh, great. Like, Jessica watched YouTube for 3.5 hours. And then, but YouTube will say, where did Jessica start? She started on Mariah's channel.
So brownie points for Mariah for having this human start binging. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Jess, this conversation is so helpful. I love all of your information.
Happy to share.
Okay, so do you have any resources or recommendations for people on like where to start with either the YouTube channel, or we mentioned that like in order to have a YouTube channel, you have to have content, right? And I know that content is like a big sanity sucking monster for a lot of people. So it's like, do you have any resources or recommendations for either of them, both of them?
Yes. So just to toot my own horn, I have a course called Content to Clients, and it walks you through how to start creating content and theme it and systematize it and share it and get those views, get those comments, all that kind of stuff. And there's even a module literally on how to start a YouTube channel, like the tech side of how to start a YouTube channel, not just like how to start being on camera and whatever.
Yeah.
And so Content to Clients is what it's called. It walks you through. And I honestly created it because so many people were like, how have you done YouTube for 3 years without missing a single week? And also you blogged, and also you have a podcast. Like, how do you create so much content?
Yeah, it's honestly pretty mind-blowing. So, I mean, your system must work because like you juggle client work, you juggle content creation, social media marketing, and you're essentially a one-woman show.
I am. I have an assistant, and she literally, the only thing she does for me is add new clients into my client management system. She doesn't do anything with my content or editing. Like, I do my own editing.
Can I come over to your house for like a week and we can just have like,
you can just watch.
I could just like hang out over your shoulder and just watch how you literally do everything.
Sure.
That's so awesome. So yeah, I will link to that course. What is it called?
Content to Clients.
Content to Clients. I will go ahead and link to that in the video description and in the blog post that is with this video. Did you have any other resources that you wanted to mention, maybe about like growing a channel that either you found really helpful or that you have on your own channel?
Yes. I love the channel. It's a YouTube channel called Video Creators.
Okay.
And it's literally just about YouTube. And there's all types of videos, everything from like really basic tech stuff to strategy, and like he interviews other people and talks about like their YouTube channels and all that stuff. And he has a program called Video Labs, and I took that last year, and it's really good. So I would highly recommend checking out the channel. It's a huge popular channel. And it's really, really awesome. Whether you're a beginner, you've been doing it for a few years, or maybe you're just even thinking about starting YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to ask you for that link too when we hop off of here. And so I will go ahead and post that as well. And now the last and probably the most important question: where can people find you online and connect with you?
Yes, so I'm pretty much everywhere at Jess Creatives. You can find me obviously here on YouTube. I'm most active, honestly, on YouTube and Instagram, but you can also find me on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, all the things. And my website is jesscreatives.com.
Perfect. So I will go ahead and add links to all of those as well. So Jess, I just want to thank you for being a guest on the Work the Web interview series. I think that we went over seriously a ton of helpful information for people that are curious about starting, about growing, and you went into, you know, a lot of things that like a lot of other people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this was super, super helpful.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to share all the YouTube nerdiness that I have.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so yeah, if you guys watching, make sure that you check out the other interviews in the Work the Web series. I've talked to a lot of really, really helpful online business owners, and they gave really awesome tips on what they focused on to help them grow their business online as well. And then, you know, as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a super quick thumbs up. And if you have any questions for either me or Jess, go ahead and comment them below the video on YouTube, on the blog post, and we'll be sure to keep an eye out and answer those for you. So thanks, guys. We will talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.